What is good, everybody? Welcome back to Draft Nerds. Today, we're back with another prospect profile. Now, we've done the big three wide receivers already, Jordan Tyson, Mekhi Lemon, and Carnell Tate. Today, we're moving on to KC Concepcion, wide receiver out of Texas A&M. So, I just completed my deep dive. I'm going to talk to you guys about the strengths and weaknesses that I saw on his game film and how I project him here at the next level. So, without wasting any more time, let's hop right into KC and just get right into it. Now, as I mentioned, Texas A&M is where KC Concepcion is coming out of. He's a junior right now, 5'11", 190 pounds. He was a 3-star recruit coming out of high school and was a 567th prospect ranked nationally in his high school recruiting class. He originally went to NC State, where he would play the 2023 and the 2024 season before transferring to Texas A&M here this year during the 2025 season for his junior year. Now, in 2025, he finished with 61 receptions, 919 receiving yards, and 9 touchdowns in 13 games played. He was a consensus All-American in 2025, and he was voted a 3-time first-team All-SEC member as a wide receiver, a return specialist, and an all-purpose player, all during the 2025 season as well. So obviously, this was a player who was able to get it done in multiple ways here for Texas A&M. Now, the games that I watched on film, you guys can go watch these in the Nerd Herd film room yourself. I watched Notre Dame, Auburn, South Carolina, Missouri, and Texas. All of those are all 22 film. You can watch the same exact film that I'm seeing, and I strongly encourage you guys to go do that because I will tell you what I saw, but it's always good to go double check with your own 2 eyes, make sure you're seeing the same things, and maybe you see something different than me. If you do, let me know in the comments down below what you're seeing with KC Concepcion. So let's just get into the strengths with KC. The first thing that popped off on film immediately for me was the explosive release off the line of scrimmage and the immediate acceleration that he plays with. He is very explosive off of the line of scrimmage. He puts stress on defenders very quickly with a lot of that burst and that short area quickness that you see on film. He forces defensive backs into recovery mode very early on in his routes, and it gets defenses in trouble trying to guard him. Now, a lot of that is because he has a lot of vertical speed and a lot of big playability in his game as well. He has legitimate deep speed to beat you over the top. He stacks defenders very well vertically when he's given a clean release, and he punishes defenders who try to jam him at the line of scrimmage if they miss by creating chunk plays downfield. He also has home run speed when he hits the open field, so he's a player that can create a lot of big opportunities for his offense if he gets the football in his hands and has enough space around him. He is also a very dangerous wide receiver on some specific route types. He's very consistent as a strong go route runner. He's also very effective on in-breaking routes, so he wins those routes with the speed, the burst, the direction route execution, all of those things that we're seeing where he's winning with his athleticism rather than some of the physicality. Now, he has a lot of short area quickness, like I said, that long speed combo. It is a dangerous combination. He does get the defenders in trouble very early with the acceleration and the speed, and he's a threat both underneath and vertically as a receiving option. He does a really good job selling his routes too. He's very deceptive with some of the flashes that he's showing the defense. He does a good job selling the routes and keeping defenders very honest, especially when it comes to running some of these vertical routes and running some of these in routes, especially short at the line of scrimmage where you don't really know what he's going to do. He sells the deep ball and then he'll cut something inside where he's getting open very early and very often. So that's something that I thought really stuck out on tape. He also has this ability to avoid being overly predictable despite some tempo concerns that I think he has in some of his route running. He also has some very solid ball skills and recovery effort on film as well. I think he shows a lot of effort on acrobatic, poorly thrown footballs because there was quite a few of them from Marcel Reed. He's very acrobatic. He tries to go out and lay out for the catch. He will put his body on the line, and I do like to see that from an effort standpoint, but I also think he does a good job adjusting outside of his frame. Even though it's not the longest or the biggest frame, he does a good job adjusting to some of the footballs just to make sure that he's getting this catch. Now, he does have a lot of alignment versatility in his game that I saw in college here at Texas A&M. He was used all over the formation. I do think he has some flexibility here to play as a slot wide receiver, a Z wide receiver, be used in motion. There's a lot of different ways that you can use KC Concepcion, and he was used that way at Texas A&M. Now, that said, there are some weaknesses that also showed up on film as well. I think one of the biggest ones is that he struggles with some of the physicality and some of the contact. I think the separation suffers a little bit when defenders get handsy and get physical with him in his routes. I think he can get disrupted through breaks and early early on in that route if a defender can jam him. Like I said earlier, if they miss him, he makes them pay, but it is a gamble a little bit to where if they do get their hands on him, they can disrupt him early on. I also think the lack of size does show up a little bit in the contested catch situations. Now, another thing that was concerning is I think he's inconsistent as a catcher when he's under duress. Now, what I mean by that is he is a person who is struggling to make tough catches through contact. He has concentration drops that are all over the film as well, especially when he's working over the middle of the field. And when he's in traffic, those contact situations, it does expose this consistency issue of coming down with the football. He also has some very limited blocking impact, I think, on his offense. I'd probably call him an average to below average run blocker. I think the effort is there. The effectiveness is what's really lacking for him. And I think a lot of that is because of the frame limitations that are preventing that blocking upside. And as I mentioned before, there are some route tempo and some pacing limitations in his game that I saw as a route runner. I think he often runs his routes at one speed, which is fast. So it's good to see him running these fast routes. But I do think he needs to have a little bit more nuance in his route running as well. He lacks some variance, the pacing, the advanced manipulation that you see in tape of guys like Jordan Tyson and Carnell Tate. And he does rely very heavily on that raw athleticism, and it's not really leaning into the craft of route running overall. Now, I mentioned the size before. It also shows up in the red zone. I think the contested catch, the red zone, it shows up as a smaller receiver where he's not really able to go up and get that football most of the time. So those are kind of the weaknesses that I saw for him. As far as how I'm viewing him at the next level, I think he's a player that does have the ability to play a Z receiver or a flanker wide receiver, whichever one you want to call it. But I do think he can benefit from moving into a primary slot receiver at the next level. Some player comps that I would give him would be guys like Zay Flowers. That's probably the ceiling for him. Guys like Jaden Reed and Wan'Dale Robinson also kind of remind me a little bit of KC Concepcion. Just players that win primarily with that burst, the acceleration, the speed, and not necessarily their physicality or their play strength. Now, as some context for the film, I am going to just go out and put a disclaimer there as well. The quarterback play on film was very subpar. It was not great. There was a lot of overthrown, missed throws that I do think could have resulted in some bigger plays here, especially for KC Concepcion, or they were just bad reads where Casey was open and he never even got looked at by the quarterback as well. So I just wanted to throw that out there. NFL draft capital, I think he's a player that's probably right there on the fringe of first and second round draft capital, probably the late first, early second. If I had to make a bet, probably a player that I would project more as an early second round pick. Some ideal landing spots for him that I think would fit: Pittsburgh Steelers at 21. That's probably the highest I could see him going. Arizona at 34. The New York Giants at 37 to maybe replace Wan'Dale Robinson, who's leaving in free agency. The New York Jets at 44 and the Atlanta Falcons at 48 are all spots I could see KC Concepcion playing, and spots that I think could utilize his skill set and his talents. So there you have it, folks. That is my prospect profile for KC Concepcion. As always, if you guys enjoyed it, do me the favor, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. We're trying to get to 1,000 subscribers. And if you want to watch the film yourself, be a Nerd Herd member. Go watch in that prospect film room. You can see all of the tape that we are watching. But I have nothing else for you guys today, so I will see you next week. Until then, peace out.